Yep. D-Boy from the thing I established was West Coast Uncensored. He said, why West Coast Uncensored? I thought it was cool. Actually, I was at the time going to wrestling events and paying attention to them that were indies in the Southern California area. And there was an uncensored, right? And it was called, God, what was it called? I can't remember. It was Pro Wrestling Uncensored or something like that. I'm forgetting that, which I shouldn't because but since the last 19 to 21, I don't even know if it's around anymore. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, bench it real quick with shit. But anyways, so I got that West Coast Uncensored, and I was like, man, that was my thing. I put it down. I actually even put it in a website. I actually got the domains for it. And why? I thought that this would definitely, far back from the 90s onward, that you would have some kind of group or especially when hip hop or rap, that would call himself West Coast Uncensored. Then when I looked it up, nobody did. I said, I said, this is actually pretty cool. Let me grab this. So I did. So if you're looking for me to rap, no. But if you're looking for me to rap, right, you're gonna see it. Par. Look at the opposite. That's par. That'd be even a good word to look up. We know in golf, par means even, right? That might be a word to even look up. Par. Okay. But anyways, I thought about this one thing. It just hit me. Things I mentioned in another video. I kind of mentioned throughout there's a pole, right? You got a pole. And this is where we understand. This is where really politics really comes from, because they say, "Oh, this political science. The science of political science ain't no jibber jabber at the University of Education of Misguidance. It is a pole, meaning balance. You got a pole of usually two poles that shift north and south. You got feminine and masculine energy within you. Just that told you more than they teach you in that, because that's corruption of creating off balance by I'm left, I'm right, left to right. Anybody knows when you're left and you're right and you're left, you need to be centered. That's a creation of magnetation in all of reality. Take yourself up. You're the poles, right? But, so I got this little rule I started looking at. I just started noticing that through my journey that everything has the other side of it. Meaning, if you've been locked down, I really hit this on the lockdown in 19, if they told you, oh, you need to go home orders, right? So I started looking at go home orders. It's not really the go home orders of what they said. What goes with that, anybody that sees through knows what I'm saying about. But I took it as, this is a time that you had time, because everything that was happening, I went within myself. And actually noticed that through that process, I conquered some giants that manifested through that process. But anytime that I would notice that you were coming to any kind of conclusion of something, or a new understanding or revelation, elevation, there's always two poles to it. So if you have lockdown, the other side of being locked down is being free, right? You're not locked, it's open. If there's a lockdown, there's an open up. Notice that. I call it the 180 degree rule, meaning even when you go to your greatest, or you go and you hit something that you're like, oh, this is really good. Look at this. Remember the other side of it, the 180, or the got your six. Remember you say, you got your back, man. Got your six, because the six really represents 180, the whole full turn, right? The full turn would take me back to the place I was, but I'm looking for opposite, because that's how poles, that's the yin and yang systems. That's the duality of this plane of duality. That you're always going to have the opposite of what that says or what that is. So if it's totally bad, the opposite of, I don't like cold showers, opposite's hot showers. So what do? You combine the cold and hot. Listen what I'm saying. This is conscious too. You combine the cold and hot and try to put them in the center. Why? So you have the perfect stream of water that's not too cold and not too warm, not blasting you with heat and not too freezing you out, right? So you come to a balance. That's key. So in the 180, you're going to always have the opposite, right? You got that's why in Politrix or the political, you got the red and the blue team, right? That's the game, because it's about balance, and they ain't trying to balance you; they're trying to imbalance you. I'm not seeing through Crudville. We're always going to uncensor crap. But I'm about building, so I'm not going to just go, oh, we're going to go into all this all the time, because I see that all the time, and that doesn't necessarily build you, because that's outside stuff that you need to, you'll see easily, and you probably, a lot of people know. There's people that know that part of it, but don't know themselves still. I see that all the time. And this key is knowing yourself is the whole thing about your journey of many lives, right? Your 1,000-year reign, your array of light, but then you're mysterious, right? And also these the 180. So, and I start thinking all the 180 things I'm thinking about are like, I'm not saying on and off, right? Black and white. That's really the poles that when people get on the journey of colors, of people and saying, oh, you're white, you're black. That's all legal jargon to nobody's a crayon. But we've been presented that, and sometimes, not all the time, people, that's part of the programming system. Follow the masters. I say, don't do it. Wake and empower yourself in knowledge and those in the community who will see it, that you can connect to, because it's open. Bam Bam's open. Boom. We see through that, because we're not seeing the mysterious. We're seeing the whole 180, meaning the opposite of one thing is the opposite of another. If the fruits, if it's feminine, like I said, feminine and masculine energy, this is the mystery, or the 180. It's everywhere. Even when you open up a matrix, right? You get a revelation within a revelation, like a dream within a dream, right? Notice that there's always those 180s in everything. You open up an understanding, and you may go full tense into it and realize, oh, I got to balance back up to get a balance, because the other side is the opposite, right? And vice versa, right? You got to find the balance within everything, because the balance will take you completely out of judgment. So the 180 rule is always there. But once you know the 180 degrees, you'll know what the other side's doing. That's how simple it is, because you're busting codes. So I call it the 180 degree rule, because it isn't a rule. The other side of something, of one thing, the other side of the mountain is a desert, right? The other side of and even the other side of the beach can be the desert, or it can be the mountain, right? You're at sea level now. You're up 4,500 feet, depending where you go in a mountain and a high place. So that's the 180 rule. So notice that if you're hungry, the opposite of being hungry is being full. The opposite of that, and know this is in every aspect of one revelation, within one revelation, on every little thing. That's how you start decoding even matrix, because even in the matrix, this is there. So when you know the 180 rule, no matter where you go, you actually have this code of 180. So you know exactly what your maps are saying, because this is really the key. This is how you start processing the 180 is location, right? In conscious. I'm talking about conscious. So the 180 is very powerful, because it's a map. It's a map. The other side of love would maybe be not caring anymore. It's not really hate, because hate and love kind of go together. They are opposites, but there's still one thing involved in both of them. If you hate something or you love something, you have a lot of input emotions on either side. But I notice even in the relationship part, I love somebody at one time, then the next, when that's over, I really don't care, which I think it went over a little bit. That's a powerful thing, not to care, right? Because you're not really invested in this anymore. The emotions and all this that you're invested in, and you don't hate, right? But you used to be in a high form of love. Not that you don't love no more, but you're not loving on the level, especially in relationships. But it can be in many other things that 180 is always there. Fat, skinny. right? It's all there all the time. Even every little door you open will have that. And there's planes that are, not that. If you journey there, you'll start knowing that law, because it will actually, that law manifests very easy. You'll find them where they're at. And always coming with that would be a minding the business, minding on your journey of creativity. And that's where we're really at. Stay balanced. In closing, notice that when you know the 180 and you go between it, right? So you're not one side over, now you're going in the middle, like the 90 and your 90-90. You're centered. That's where you're really non-judgment's at, because you're not living in judgment all the time, judging yourself. That's why there's a scripture. It says if you judge, least you're judged, lest you're judged. It's because your mind will be always judging. And then you're judging. The reflection is, remember, there's a mirror that you're judging yourself. But when you go centered, you come out of judging all the way right or all the way left. Hear what I'm saying? You guys have a great day. From D-Boy.